Okay, today we're going to work on creating a video about yourself, and it's going to use a program called WeVideo, and we'll get to that. But our first step is to collect some images that have something to do about you, or that would sort of be a demonstration of what it is you're talking about when you're talking about yourself. So we're going to use Google Images for that, and there's a couple of tricks when you're going into Google Images. So one of the things that I obviously like is cross-country, since I coach that here. So I'm going to see if I can find a cross-country image that I can use within it. So I'm going to type in cross-country, click on images, and I've got a lot of different images here. Now, one of the things about collecting images for your videos is that it is important that it's a large image. So if I click over here and click on this image, I can already kind of tell it's a little bit small, but this is just a preview window. I'm going to actually click over here and say view image, and that's going to check two things. First, it's going to tell me if the filter is blocking the image, and secondly, it's going to tell me how big that actual image is. So that image is too small. There's a tool up here at the very top of Google Images called Tools that will allow me to select the size of images it shows me when it searches for a particular image. So if I click on this, now it's filtered out images that are too small, and I can click on larger images and get images that I'm sure are big enough to use within this project. So this is a good shot of a girls cross country team. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this image, and I'm not going to copy it. I'm going to click Save Image As. When I do Save Image As, it's going to ask me where I want to save it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose inside my pictures folder, and I'm going to actually create a new folder, and I'm going to call this new folder myself or self video, and I'm going to save it inside of there. And you can rename the images. A lot of times the name of the pictures are kind of crazy, and I'm just going to call this cross country so I know what it is later on. Now I'm going to do that for 10 to 15 different images. And remember, each time you search for images, you're just simply going to find one. So let's say I want to do camping. Find an image, and I need to make sure I find a large image. So let's say I pick this one here as a cool image. Don't save this first one that pops up. Number one, it's a little bit blurry, and number two, it's not the largest version. You want to click over here on the right side, click on View Image. It'll open a new window and give you a larger version. Right click, Save Image As, and then go ahead and save it inside that folder that you've created. All right, so now let's assume that I've created or I've saved 10 to 15 images about myself. I'm now going to go to WeVideo and start working with the actual program itself. So over here on the right side, it gives you a bunch of different options to log in. You actually have a professional account by logging in with the Google account, as long as it's your Indian Prairie School District account. So I'm going to click on the big red G, and I can tell I've logged in here. Up in the top right, it should give you kind of your image or your account name, and I have lots of storage available with the premium or the pro account. So once you're inside WeVideo, you want to go to your media tab up here at the top, and this is where you will upload images or video clips or whatever it is you want to use within your actual video that you're creating. So if you remember, you just collected 10 to 15 images about yourself. So I'm going to use this little plus symbol over here that says import, and I'm going to browse to select to see if I can find on my computer where those images are. Now mine just happened to pop up to the right spot, but you may have to click on pictures and then see if you can find it. Here is my another one that I did last period, and I'm going to highlight all these images. You of course should have 10 to 15 in here. I'm going to click open, and I should get a little image or a status screen here that will tell me how long until these are all uploaded, and they usually go pretty quickly depending on how big your images are. Okay, so here I have all my images imported. And if I wanted to organize them a little better, I could have put them inside of an actual folder. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to leave them out here in the general media folder. All right. So second step was uploading your media. Now the third step here is to go to the project screen, and I'm going to create a new project. And what a project is kind of like a video, but it's actually a collection of all of the resources you need to create a video. So I'm going to again click over here on the right side. I'm going to click Create New Project, and I'm going to give this a title, and I'm going to say, you know, all about Mr. Kelsey. And you don't need to necessarily give it a description. And this is going to be a personal project type. So click on Personal, click on Next. Now here it's going to ask you to add your media. You can actually do this in a later step. So I'm just going to click Next to skip over this step. And now it's created the project. And my next step here is to click on Create Video. And that will create kind of the video file within this project. And here you get a big screen that might look a little complicated, and yours might actually look a little bit different. Yours probably is in what's called a storyboard mode down here at the bottom, which is actually what the mode that I'm going to have you guys use in Essential Tech. And again, to switch between that, you click on this little menu, and there are two different modes: storyboard mode, which does a lot more things automatically for you. Timeline mode, it's a little more advanced, and it's hard to switch between the two of those once you've started. So make sure you choose a mode first. For this one, we're going to do storyboard mode. Up here at the very top, you've got a couple of different tools. Right now, I'm in my media folder. So if you remember, I had uploaded all those images. You should have obviously a lot more here into your media folder. So I'm going to click on the little plus symbol here, and you'll see as I click these plus symbols, so I can select the correct ones, those will show up in my storyboard down here on the bottom. I'm going to add a title here at the beginning, and when I click on it, it already has a title. If I click on the little pencil, it's going to open up the editor and let me edit what this title is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, you know, the story of Mr. Kelsey. And obviously you can put in your own information. You can change the types of fonts that you want to use within that. You can change a little bit of the colors as well as the size so that it can kind of flip up here. When you have it looking the way you want, click Done Editing, and that will give you your story. Now here in the right corner, this is where your video is. If I were to press play, kind of shows you what that's going to look like. And then it will flip right over to my first image. Now within this image, I'm going to go ahead and click on Open Clip Editor. I can add a caption to this, which is words, and you can decide where you want to put it. So I'm going to say, you know, I love coaching cross country. You can decide where you want this. Either a caption is kind of pushed over to the left, lower third goes across the whole bottom. Again, changing the font if you want to, the size if you would like. Keep being careful not to make it too big, otherwise it will overlap. As you can see, I made a little big and the word years went down there. And then the start and end time, you can kind of mess with when you want those words to come into this video clip. So let's say I want the words to come in a little bit later. So I can click here, press play, and it'll show you how they will appear and then sort of disappear after that image. I can also click over here and give me some options here to transform my particular image. There's not a whole lot that I want to transform with this. Maybe I want to make it a little bigger, smaller. If for some reason it goes in crooked, you can flip it or rotate it if you need to. There's kind of a cool feature here called blurred background, which will get rid of these black stripes on the side and give it a blurred version of that image. And then your next tab here is called animation. This one I think is kind of a cool spot where you get to pick a starting point. So let's say I want to start this image over here on the left side, and I want to end it over here on the right side. And what that will do is when I'm watching this movie, instead of just looking at a plain old image, it is one that will sort of slide aside. I can also do some different scaling options. So let's say instead of sliding, I want it to start out a little bit smaller, and I want it to end a little bit bigger. And I wouldn't make this too big of a change. Otherwise, when you press play, it goes so fast it looks a little bit insane. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and click Done Editing. And now I've changed this one. Now, of course, there's other different effects you can do though with these clips. You can add some visual effects if you want to. Some of them are very cool, like the vignette. Some of them, like invert colors, would not really be useful for something like this because now you can't even see the image. So I'll add a vignette, which adds sort of like a cool shading around the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And you can see, decide if you like that or not. You can always undo any changes that you do. And you're going to continue through with this, adding captions, which is right here to the bottom of all your images, so you can explain what this is. So I would talk about how I take kids on the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip every year, and I would talk about that within this clip, add in some transformations if I need to change anything within my image, and then also add an animation to your image. And you're going to do that, once again, to each of your images. Then, when you are done with that, you can slide to the end of your presentation. And if you want to click up here at the very top under text, you can add a couple of different things. There's some cool effects that you can try, and you can really go crazy with these. If you go a little bit too crazy with them, now you can't read your text. If I want a static title here at the end, let's say I want to end credit. Whoops, it looks like I put it in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up. I'm going to slide over and drag that to the end instead. And these are cool end credits where I can go in here, open that up, and say it's directed by me, produced by Mr. Kelsey, and type in random information here if you want. You should obviously include your name somewhere within these credits if you are making another one. I'm going to call Mr. Kelsey, and if you press play here, you'll see how it gives you kind of that finishing effect. If you want to give it that scroll effect like you would see sometimes on videos, I'm going to go ahead and click on start, move it down here because I want it to start at the bottom. I want it to end here at the top. Press play, and it gives me that cool scrolling effect like you see at the end of movies. Okay. And then finally, if you want to add some graphics to behind these, you can add a graphic to the back of this and put that on top of there instead of having just a plain background. You can have kind of a cool background here and add your closing credits. And then your final step is over here on the left side. You can actually add some audio to this, and there is a bunch of free music and then premium music that you can add to the background of your entire movie, and allow you to kind of select through those and see which one you think makes sense so that somebody's not just watching a video with no sound in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and use this track, and now that overlays the track. So when I'm ready to watch my movie, I'm going to press play. And that gives it kind of a cool preview. You want to make sure that at the end of this, you may press save. It does auto-save, but it does not auto-save very often. So if you click on save here, it's going to finish up your video, and you'll be able to come back to it tomorrow to continue on. If there's any parts of this video that you missed a step, go ahead and rewind it, and you'll be able to preview it and see how to add each of these effects to the video all about you.